not political. It's not a political channel. It's about finance. It's about thinking, creating some thought process, and creating some debate. So, Washington Post. You know who owns the Washington Post, right? Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Super left wing. Okay. So there was an opinion piece this week, and it says, how would Trump and Harris affect the U.S. debt? Have any of you watched that debate between Trump and Harris? Now, there's rumors. I don't know if it's proven, although there was a whistleblower who came forward and said they sent all the questions to Kamala beforehand. I thought she did better than Trump. I'm not going to lie. Was that because she was prepared with all the questions given to her before the debate? I don't know. These things are all, you got to take your side with those. But the point is, they both have this, plans, economic plans, right? Let's look at it. Let's see what it is. I do know Washington Post is super left. Okay. So how would Trump and Harris affect U.S. debt? By the way, in that whole, I don't know how long it was. I could only watch like half hour of it. But I read about it afterwards that there were, for me, the most pressing thing the U.S. is facing today are two things: illegal immigration and the debt. I know there was some talk about that because Trump, said people are eating people's chickens and stuff. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know if those are facts or not, or dogs. But there were no questions that during the time I was watching about the U.S. government debt. I'm going like, why not? That's, I think, the most pressing thing. And the border policy, obviously. But so at this week's debate, the deficit was, there you go. Even the lefties are saying that. At this week's debate, the deficit was referenced just twice. Why? That's unfortunate. I agree with the Washington Post. First time in a long time. That's unfortunate because the issue is pressing. No, kidding. Go check my power hours going back from the start of the channel. I've been talking about the deficit, mortgaging my kids' future for 4 months now. And I'm going to do it until I'm blue in the face. The national debt is on an unsustainable path. Holy crap, Washington Post, we agree again. Federal debt relative to gross domestic product is on track to surpass its post-World War II record by 2027. So when you're in the World War, what you do, right? You go into massive debt to win the war. You produce weapons and you need to win the war. Otherwise, dead. So, yeah, we're at 125% now. So if we get in a slowdown, GDP slows down a tad from 27 to, let's say, only 10%, let's say, to 25 trillion. And debt is going up $1 trillion every 100 days. Yeah, we're going to be like 150% of GDP. Now, there is a couple of countries in the world that are worse than us, actually. Japan is, I think, running about 240% of GDP, debt to GDP. I'm like, I don't know about that. But we are the world, so let's go with that. 150% debt to GDP is not a good thing. It won't stop there. The country will almost certainly need more government investment. Now we're starting to disagree. In the years ahead because of national security concerns. What? See, we're started spinning already. Post. I like the first paragraph. We agreed. Now we're gonna go diverge. An aging population, existential threat posed by See, okay, that sentence took me right back to Washington Post lefties. Aging population is true. That's actually why I told my daughter to get into medicine or biotech, because, including myself, in the next 10 years, 70 million baby boomers are retiring in this country. So Social Security hopefully is there for me when I retire. Obviously Medicare, right? I mean, all these things, we paid into it. I want my money back. If you're young, you're not going to get anything. So you keep paying for the old farts. But one out of the three there, I'm agreeing. National security. What about national security concerns? Well, if you're not interested in national security concerns, you shouldn't let in 1.5 million people without checking who they are. How about that? What if there's like a few hundred terrorists walked in and they're about to blow some shit up? I don't know. I would just start there. Climate change, it's a topic that I have absolutely no interest in. But if you guys are interested, go for it. Don't ask me. I have no opinion. but the aging population, definitely. So if Elon comes and cuts my Social Security, Elon, I will hate you. Don't do it. And so, as left as they are, they put up the two spreadsheets, let's say, of what will happen under Kamala and under Trump to our $35 trillion deficit. All right. Trump would add, see, this is when they take their lefty hat on and put it back on. Trump would add at least $4.5 trillion to the deficit if he's elected. Harris has a clear plan to be fiscally responsible. I think Harris and Biden have been in the White House and for what now, almost 4 years. What has happened to the deficit in the last 4 years? Has it gone down or has it gone up? Yeah, it's gone up by about $3.5 trillion. So I don't know, Washington Post. I need to debate you on this. So if you ever watch this, whoever wrote that article, come on down. We'll debate it. So Trump policy says extend Trump tax cuts. It will add $4.6 trillion to the deficit. All right. Reduce corporate tax rate to 15% for some firms. It will add, let's say, 0.2 to 0.6 trillion to the deficit. These are all adds. No tax on tips. It will add, zero. So 15 on triples. That's about in the billions. No big deal. No tax on Social Security benefits. It will add 1.6 trillion. I think a lot of the Social Security beneficiaries would like that. 1.6 trillion to that. And the tariffs that he's going to put on, that he's saying he's going to put on, will reduce that by 2 trillion. But in net, if Trump is elected, next 4 years is going to add 4.5 trillion to 5 trillion into the U.S. deficit. Well, we're going there anyway. We're adding $1 trillion every 100 days, Washington Post, with or without Trump. Am I wrong? I think that's what it is. So Harris's clear plan, let's see what this clear plan looks like. Extend the Trump tax cuts for taxpayers earning below $400,000. So what about it? So why is it bad that if Trump does it? So when Trump does it, it's 4.6 trillion. When Kamala does it, it's only 2 to 3 trillion. Okay, we'll take your word for it. No tax on tips, which was actually Trump's idea. That will add 60 billion to the deficit. Expand tax credit for low-income taxpayers, which she said during the debate. That adds 800 billion to the deficit. Decrease housing costs. That will add 100 billion to the deficit. Deficit reduction in the Biden budget, minus 3.3 trillion. What are you guys smoking at the Washington Post? Some high-end crack? What reduction? They've been here for the last 3 years. I don't know. Am I wrong here, people? Just chime in, please. Did the deficit go up last 3.5 years or go down? I don't know. I think it went up a lot by at least 3.3 trillion. So here in this little spreadsheet or whatever, they're giving her credit for 3.3 trillion reduction of the deficit and lower capital gains rate than Biden, 50 billion. So in total, her deficit impact could be between negative 290 to 710 billion positive, meaning reduction of the deficit because of that one line item that they gave her, saying that this deficit reduction in the Biden budget. Am I like not here on this planet? Did the deficit go up last 3.5 years or go down? So this is a new plan that's going to cut the deficit like they did the last 4 years? Okay, Washington Post, you're back in my doghouse. Not buying any of this. I think, in my opinion, both sides are going to add to the deficit. Deficit is structural. It's not going to change until we don't spend or cut spending. Where we cut, I don't know. Here's the bottom line. We're taking in tax receipts a lot less than what we're spending. Stop spending. Cut spending. Done. Finish. ZBB, zero-based budget. Things will be okay. Now, will 35 go to zero ever? I don't think it will ever happen in my lifetime and most of your lifetimes and my kids' lifetime, because we love spending money we don't have. We do it in our household budgets. You guys see the credit card debt going through the roof. We do exactly what the federal government does. Stop it. Stop the madness. If you're doing it in your own home, if you're buying food or groceries with credit cards, don't do any of that stuff. I know you can't go hungry, but don't. So this is a little, I'm not buying this, but we'll see. But I think both sides, if they do show up, which I'm sure one side is going to show up, we know that, that's the certainty. Both sides will add to the deficit. I don't think anything is going to change unless somebody's serious about cutting spending. If you don't cut spending, deficit's not going to change. In fact, it's going to go up 100. Every 100 days it's going to go up $1 trillion.